Yo, yo, yo! What's going on, world? Gorbachev here with Kman, week 17. Let's get it.
Yep.
How you doing, Kman?
Doing all right here on a Friday. I guess during the holidays, just went through Christmas, coming up to the New Year. Getting close to the NFL season, winding down. Ready for some playoffs, but one more week to go.
Are you ready for some playoffs? So we're here. You can find us on Twitter at Gorbachev Kman, our website, kmanandgorbachev.com, and we are doing an abridged Week 17 episode with just the important, significant games this week. Going to save you guys some time, give you back about an hour of your lives.
Yep.
So, and then we'll be back for the playoffs to do a divisional, a wild card weekend breakdown. So, without further ado,
just
get right into it.
What's up?
You wanted to get into it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say we picked out, like you mentioned, we just picked out a few of the important games. Not all of the ones that had like implications. Like there's some that are like. Some people like Chiefs are playing for a 1 seed versus a 5, but they're also, it's like not really a game worth talking about. So there are a few that have implications that matter for the playoffs, but we kind of just picked out a few good matchups that really matter. So we can.
That aren't double-digit spreads.
Yes. Okay. So, we can get started. I got the Browns Ravens game first. So
is that Sunday at 1? Are all these games Sunday at 1 or around on Sunday?
They're all Sunday. Some are 4. They changed around the times. I think this one's actually a 4. They moved a bunch of the times after I did it, but I believe this is a 4. Let me check.
Okay. Well, it is the Browns at the Ravens.
Yes, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock Sunday, Cleveland at Baltimore. I said the Ravens were 5-point favorites.
Good guess.
Yeah.
I had 6.
Zone.
I had 6. And you're right. It's 5.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be that high, but it also couldn't have been like 3 or 4, I figured.
Well, I mean, Baltimore's playing really well. I keep trying to like fade them, assuming they'll have a bad game with Lamar Jackson, but it's not worked. Now they're in a position to win the division after all that, when they had a little stretch where they couldn't win a game, and now they're maybe one of the hotter teams in NFL. And really, I don't like that defense is not something you want to mess with. But again, we also do love the Browns, and the Steelers are the biggest Browns fans this weekend. They need a Browns win to get into the playoffs, so they're rooting hard there.
If the Ravens lose and Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh wins division and Baltimore's out, right?
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, Ravens really need this game.
They win and get in, but if they lose, they still can get in if Pittsburgh loses. But Pittsburgh has Cincinnati at home, so that I'd be shocked if they lost that one.
Is that a 4 o'clock game?
They're both 4s. Yeah, so they're playing the same time. But I mean, Pittsburgh, if they lost that, I'd be shocked. So, so really it's a win and you win the division kind of game for Baltimore, who's been playing great, really playing well of late. We do love the Browns, though. It's a road game against a really hot Baltimore team. I don't know. Do you have any opinion on this game?
Lamar Jackson came in after their bye week, and he's gone 5-1.
And their one loss was overtime at Kansas City, or it was just
overtime at Kansas City.
That's a very impressive loss too.
So they the Browns are really playing with house money. They don't really have anything at risk here, so I feel like they're gonna go all out, and there's no risk on them.
Of course, and it's a divisional game, and they're like a Baker always plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's going to keep it up, but again, it's still a divisional game on the road. But they're playing very well, also the Browns. The Browns have been they're 5-2 under Williams, so like they're playing very well as well.
Since they lost a tough one, they got blown out by KC, and then they've gone 5-1 also.
Yeah, both teams are very. It's a very good game. That's why we picked it.
Loss at Houston, but the Ravens also have revenge here. They lost that 12-9 low-scoring game to the Browns earlier.
2 rookie quarterbacks going up. We do like Baker a lot, but Lamar has the better team, obviously, and they run a tough offense to stop. Apparently, they just run like a college. It seems like a college offense to me, honestly.
Yeah.
I slightly think the Ravens kind of put this away with how well they're playing, but again, I've been kind of wrong on them, and I do like the Browns in general. I don't think it could be a close game. I wouldn't be shocked. So I don't really know if I have much of a lean here. I hope it's a good game. I would love it's a great game. One of the ones I'll keep an eye on this weekend. And I mean, do you have who would you prefer as a fan to see win this? And would you rather Baltimore or Pittsburgh make the playoffs? They're both 2 solid, fun teams. Very different, obviously.
I'd rather Baltimore win because I think they actually have a shot to make a run with their defense make a playoff run. I don't think Pittsburgh can do that.
I think Pittsburgh can. They're getting healthier. I mean, Brown's questionable this week, but I'm sure they don't really need him to win.
Going back to the,
I always think Pittsburgh has a chance in the playoffs. Their defense has been up and down. They got some good, they have some good pieces there. Like their secondary's improved. TJ Watt's very good. It's not a great defense, but it's still solid. It shows when it plays well. Obviously, it can play well. Is my point. And that offense is always scary. I don't really have a preference because Baltimore has looked very impressive. I'm not a huge fan. Like I keep saying week after week, like I don't know how Baltimore keeps doing.
Lamar Jackson.
They do it in such an unconventional way. Like, but their defense is also the best in the league, really. So that is a fun one to see. I think both have a chance if they sneak into the playoffs, or if either one gets in. I think either one of them have a chance they could make a run. I don't think the AFC is overly unwinnable. I think it's kind of wide open. I don't think any team stands out above the crowd as much as the NFC.
Well, I think after going back to the actual game at hand here, I think I like Baker just because I think he's better than Lamar Jackson. But
I agree. But
also a time where the Ravens, I would be surprised if they lose, but Baker could easily outplay Lamar Jackson, and you're getting 5 points.
I mean, the Ravens losing, I don't think it's unfathomable, but I mean, they're playing really well right now. So, and they're at homes, and they did lose the first game. I don't know. I mean, I think
don't discount the Browns defense too, who've been playing well. They could.
Browns are a good team. I love the Browns.
Jackson grounded, and Nick Chubb breaks out a few runs.
I love the Browns. Honestly. Personally, I like the Browns more than the Ravens, but I've been very biased towards I don't think they're better than them right now. I think they have a really good core and they're going to be good for a while. And I like Baker a lot more than Lamar in the long run. But right now, no one seems to stop this rushing attack for Baltimore. So I mean, I don't think I have a lean either way. Like I said, I think Baltimore's at home playing for obviously playing a lot more. But I think Baker also is one of those guys that thrives off of ruining everyone else's life. So I think he's trying to kind of stick it to the Ravens too. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's a close game. I think Baltimore does pull it out, but I wouldn't be completely shocked if they lost this game either.
Do you think the public falls in on this game? Do you think they're going up to take the Ravens laying under touchdown, or taking the?
I don't know, honestly. I think the public takes favorites more. And Baltimore is playing hot, so I wouldn't be shocked if they took them, but I don't think it's you'd have to tell me what people are saying on some of those sites or whatever.
Looks like well, I feel like you also have people giving the Ravens serious Super Bowl consideration after they just smacked the Chargers, and there's a lot of hype on them right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if if the public is more on the Ravens.
Usually my feeling is they like favorites more, and they like teams that are hot and need a game. I feel like I feel like Baltimore would be the pick for the public, but I don't really know for sure.
Well, actually, what I'm seeing here is this opened at 6.5 and now is down to 5.5. So maybe
Yeah, I mean, at 6.5, I think I'd even lean Browns. At 5, I don't love it as much, but like I think the Browns can keep this a game. I think they're good enough. 5 or like where it's at around now, I don't know. I think 6.5 would have been a lot for Baker against Lamar. I think Baker can keep this close. So again, I don't really have a strong enough lean either way. I do like I mean I think we've kind of touched on everything we wanted in this. Unless you have anything you want to add.
No, I think my lean is on the Browns, but
reasonable. And I kind of hope the Browns keep it a game, just at least to make this race interesting. And I like them in general. I want them to finish strong. I like I like their team. So hopefully they pull it out. I guess you know what? I'd lean the Browns also. I take the points.
Yep.
It'll be a close. I think it'll be a close game, but I don't think I'd bet on it. Just I don't feel great about it.
Cool. What's the next game you got?
I didn't really look at the times here, but I don't really have much of an order here. Do you? I have the Bears Vikings. I think it's another 4:00 game.
Oh, that's a good one. So
the game of the week, really. This is a really big one.
So the Bears are playing for first round bye?
Possibly. Oh. So the Bears need a win and a Rams loss, and they get a first round bye, the 2 seed. They're playing at the same time as the Rams, who are playing the Niners at 4 as well. So the Bears are still going to obviously be playing for this because they don't know the result in that game, and they would love a bye. And they also probably want to stick it to Minnesota, their rival in division. So this should be a very good one. Minnesota needs to win, and they're in. So they get into the playoffs as the 6th seed. I think they're locked in
regardless of what happens to the Eagles, right?
Yeah, if they win, they're a half game up on the Eagles with a tie. So if the Eagles need them to lose, but we'll get to that later. But this is the game of the week in the NFC for sure. What'd you have?
So it's Bears in Minneapolis.
Correct.
I said the Vikings were -3, 3-point favorites.
It's reasonable. I had 2.5.
I was between 2.5 and 3, and I
mean that seems
gave the extra half point to the team who's seemingly playing for more.
They are, and they definitely need it. It's 4.5 now, Mini, which seemed a tad high. I think it opened around
4.5 point favorite.
This opened at 6.5. So when I saw that initially, I was blown away. I think the Bears are very good, and I think 6.5 is an easy, no thought take the Bears. It's obviously 4.5. Which I still personally lean the Bears. I think they're good enough this should be a close game, and I take the points here, I think.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think I lean the Bears. I think it's a great game. Like we said, Mini needs it a little more. Both are playing for something, though.
Yeah, wow. And this one opened at 6.5 and now is down to 4.5. I think it seems like it does kind of give that impression, like off the bat, like I'll take the Bears getting 4.5.
Well, 6.5, that's like it must have got bet. I don't know why they opened it that high. It's kind of scaring me. Maybe they think the Bears are assuming like they might bench if the Rams go up big against the team they should beat, maybe then they're just like, all right, I don't care anymore. Like maybe they'll stop trying. That is something I guess you could consider. They could end up pulling guys if at halftime.
They also played this game a few weeks ago, and the final score was 25-20, which was kind of deceiving. I don't know if you remember that game.
The Bears outplayed them, right?
Yeah, they looked awful, the Vikings, and then they came back and scored like a garbage touchdown or two.
The Bears looked really good that game. That was their kind of statement to like they kind of put the division kind of way in my mind that game. I thought Minnesota would keep it close, and they somehow technically on the scoreboard did, but I thought the Bears definitely kind of they dominated that game, and I think they're better. But again, Minnesota's at home now in a huge must-win game. I think the Bears have a shot to win this game. I wouldn't be shocked if Minnesota lost, so that's kind of why I'd take the points. But again, Minnesota also could win this just because they need it more, and the Bears might, like I said, if the Bears kind of look at halftime and it's a 20-point game, the Rams are up 20, who knows what they do? They could kind of they don't want injuries, and they could just kind of mail it in a little.
You said the last few weeks the Vikings seem to have gotten their mojo back on offense with their new offensive coordinator. They put up 27 against the Lions last week, and I think Dalvin involved. I don't want to bank. I mean, I like the Vikings. I think they're a like I said all season, they didn't play as well as how good they were.
Well, we said that all year, and they're playing a little better the last 2 weeks. They haven't beat anyone good though, so I still don't. I mean, they also had a Hail Mary touchdown. I would not completely buy their offense yet. I don't think their game against the Lions was overly impressive. I just think the Lions are very bad. There was some flukiness to that 27, 28 they scored
Against the
Lions.
Lions.
It was all right. They looked better. They definitely are playing better, but I'm not completely sold on them yet. And I think the Bears defense. This is the problem is I don't know what happens. Week 17 is always tough, and like I said, you don't know if the Bears kind of just end up pulling the reins back a little with nothing to play for later in the game, and you don't know what could happen then.
Right, and you also have teams who like don't want to show too much going into the playoffs. Like they don't want to reveal all their playbooks. So
I mean, these teams are division rivals.
Yeah.
I think that. I mean, I do kind of agree, but I still think they're playing for a bye too. If the Rams game's close,
they're playing for a bye. Vikings also have revenge. I don't know. I would probably slightly lean towards the Bears, but I don't feel confident about it at all. Like
I don't either, just because
the Vikings dominate.
I think I don't know about dominate. I think Week 17 is really, really tough. There's just a lot of moving parts, but I do think the Bears are good enough to win this game. And if they have a shot at a bye, if that plays out how they could, their defense is tough to. Their defense is really good.
Vikings come out hot and go up like 14-0, like in the second quarter. The Bears might just pack it in, bench Trubisky, and like throw up the white flag. You know,
it's possible, but
and then they go on to win like 31-0 or whatever.
I'd be shocked. I'd be very shocked at a 31-0. But again, it's possible. I think it's a close enough game that I think the Bears are better, but I don't know that they'll really go all out. I don't know if it'll matter if they win. So there are a lot of factors that could end up, like you said, the Bears kind of pull the reins back a little if things go against them. A few different things, like the Rams going up big, them going down a lot, or like any kind of borderline injury, they're going to play it safe, obviously. So you have a lot of risk taking the Bears, but I think they're better, and getting a lot of points here or not a lot, but over a field goal seems kind of high to me. So again, like we said, I think slightly on the Bears, but there's a lot of question marks that who knows what could happen.
So a lot of respect for the Vikings. Look,
I think it a little bit. First of all, 6.5 was too open, crazy high. They must think like we are that like something. If any of one or two or three possible things happen, the Bears kind of don't put in the effort to win. Because if it is a game that both really go completely all out for, I think 4.5 is an easy bet. But you don't have that guarantee. You don't know what's going to happen.
But even for the game a few weeks ago that was in Chicago, the Bears were only 2.5-point favorites, which I think is interesting. Now you got
I thought it was – what week was that?
That was November 18th, so I guess week like 12 or something.
It was a night game, right?
Yeah, Sunday night. They were only minus 2.5. So
yeah, week 11, it was 2.5. That is a little
sketchy. Pretty big change. That's why I'm like – Vegas is giving the Vikings a lot of respect.
No, 2.5 seems low. The Bears were at home. I think the Bears are – I guess that was before people completely 100% bought the Bears as the best team.
They were pretty established by that point that they were a good team, I thought.
I guess people didn't buy it at that point, but they were definitely playing well, but maybe people didn't completely buy it at that point. It was earlier in the season, and they were at home. I think – I'm not sure. I mean, that line seems to me, it seems honestly a little low right from now, if looking back at how the season played out.
That's what I mean. And so now, from that point to now, have the Vikings really improved that much?
I remember at the time, I thought it was high. Like, I thought the Vikings had a good shot at winning that. So, again, it depends on what's going on in the season. You can't really look back at it like that too much because stuff's going to change throughout the year.
Well, it's interesting to see where teams were at certain points throughout the year and where they're at now and comparing them.
I agree, but again, your opinion, like I said, is changing because right now, looking back, it seemed I'm like shocked how low it was. But at the time, I was like, "Oh, you get points with the Vikings," because that was when I thought the Vikings were still solid, and they kept screwing me over. After that, maybe that's why. But again, awesome game. I hope both teams try, and if both teams really go all out for this win, I think the Bears would be a good play. But you don't know what's going to happen. It's a tough week.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, what's next?
Next, we have, related to that game, we have the Eagles at the Redskins. Another 4:00 game, so both at the same time. I think that's what they did. I think like games that matter, they tried to play at the same time. That's why that's
Yeah, you don't want anyone getting an advantage.
yeah. That's why I think I saw a lot of games move times from when I looked at it
So,
this week.
so it's Eagles at Redskins in DC. Redskins are out of it,
Yes.
but the Eagles, they need a win, and Vikings lose to get
Correct.
a wild card bid.
Yes.
What was your guess?
My guess was I don't remember. My guess was Washington plus 4.5.
Wow, I'm way off.
I don't know. I wasn't on, but I was in the range.
Well, I thought the wheels finally came off for the Redskins last week against the Titans, so I feel like now that's
The wheels came off. They honestly were gonna in position. They played better and they should have won that game. Why do you think the wheels came off? Well, they're eliminated.
they were eliminated and they lost by like almost 10 points. But
they covered and there was a pick six with 0 seconds left in the game that was over. They were 100% the pick that game, which we said, and I thought they should have won that game also. So I don't think the wheels came off. I think they've been getting no respect. I think they're still solid. That's why again I was a little low. But what did you have?
So yeah, I thought there was the no respect trend is going to continue,
That's
and I said they were 8-point underdogs.
It's in between us.
Probably a little high.
It's exact. It's 6.5. So just that's reasonable. I think I was a little low. I just think Washington's played well, and I guess I didn't adjust it to like them always getting 3 or 4 points less than they should. But I guess the difference is they're eliminated now, and the Eagles need this game. They still might not win, but they're obviously playing for it. And I still think Washington's they've been in all these games, not all of them, but in a lot of these games that we've said that they're huge dogs. They've won outright or they were in it to the very last second, like the last 2 weeks.
I kind of like the Redskins to maybe play spoiler here.
I wouldn't be shocked if this is close. The Eagles have been disappointing a lot of the year, but they're playing better.
A crazy game that they had the big lead against the
they
and blew it.
They're the most frustrating team in the league. They should have won 4 or 5 more games. They literally have blown double-digit leads like 4 times this year. It's crazy how they cannot close games, and it's I've watched it and it's like shocking to me how bad they are and with big leads.
I think the Redskins also want to get some revenge from that Monday night embarrassment a few weeks ago against Sanchez out there.
I mean, I had 4.5, so I do slightly lean Washington here, like I have almost every week. I think that they can keep a game close. Again, they have nothing to play for now, and they have had a lot of injuries. They've shut a bunch of people down. Reed's done. They're on there. I think Josh Johnson's still QB, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know. The Eagles obviously playing for a lot more, and they're playing a lot better, I will say. With
the Eagles are more desperate and need this game more. You're paying like a few points tax for that reason, and this line like could be really close to 4, but they're making you pay around 6.5.
Well, they also again like we said,
at 7.
They haven't given a lot of respect to Washington, and now that they're eliminated, it's hard to really know. They could pack it in, or you don't know if they're going to pack it in or kind of play spoiler to the last year's Super Bowl champs. It could go either way. I
don't see anyone packing in against the Super Bowl champs when you can knock them out of the playoffs.
I tend to lean the 6.5. I think it could be the Eagles could struggle, and I mean I think it could be a closer game. But again, would you be shocked if the Eagles kind of just they're playing better? I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of went up, and they could also win this game handily. So I don't feel great about it, but I guess
because I mean he's still Crowder is still like kind of banged up. He's not the same player. Doxson's inconsistent.
Oh yeah.
Jordan Reed's always injured. Like they still have a lot of injuries.
Jordan Reed's out. He's on IR. But yeah, I think they're very banged up. Washington like they're obviously they've been like we said a lot of injuries. They are playing at home. Last game in a decent year. They're not playing for a draft pick. They're kind of in the middle of the pack anyway. I think they're gonna go for it. But
win total was 7 or 7.5, depending where you got it. So that's fine for some people.
I don't think the players care too much about that. But again, I thought it should be closer to 4.5. But again, I guess like with how Washington's eliminated now and have all the injuries and haven't gotten respect, I'm not shocked that it's that high. Like it's been with a lot of my guesses. But again, slightly on Washington, but I think hopefully the Eagles win. I would like to I don't know. I guess who do you prefer to see in the playoffs, the Eagles or Vikings?
I don't know. I
I
don't.
think both would be fun.
I think
I have
both
no
would
problem
be
with
good. I think the Vikings obviously have a better team, so they could make a better run than the Eagles. But it would be cool to see them limp back in and see the Eagles limp in and make a run if they could do it.
Yeah, I don't know that the Vikings have a clearly better team. Coming into the year, people thought the Eagles had the best roster for the future out of almost any team. So I mean they've had a lot of injuries, but I think they're relatively even. I think they're decently.
It just seems very for the Eagles, things will align,
But think about
they'll
this: the
play
Eagles.
a great game, and the Vikings will choke and they'll sneak in.
I would kind of like to see that.
Yeah,
I also think that they've had a bunch of games. Like they've played pretty well at times. If they play with Foles, especially, they play a lot better. And they've blown, like I said, 3 or 4 games that were easy, almost impossible to blow. And then if they had won those, they're sitting pretty, maybe a 5 seed even.
but then on the same at the same time, then they've had big wins. They came through and won the game with Houston. They beat the Rams on the road. They've got some juice there, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think both teams would be kind of fun. I just think, and I think the Vikings do look kind of good on paper. Like I said, they look like they could be good, and they are playing better. But again, I haven't seen them play a good team. So if Chicago goes all out here, I'd like to see them. If they play well against a full strength Chicago, that would be a nice sign going into the playoffs for them.
It wouldn't be surprising if Josh Johnson just comes back down to earth and completely sputters. He was 13 of 23 last week for 150 yards and 2 interceptions. So,
but they also were in position to win that game. They really, I thought, played better than Tennessee. It was even most 95% of that game.
The Titans are a better defense, I think, than the Eagles by a significant margin.
I think they're better. I think they're better defense, but I don't think that they're a significantly better team. I think the Eagles are
significantly better defense.
Yeah, I think those teams are relatively close. They played. I think there was an overtime win against the Titans had an overtime win against them, but they're to me very even those two. So I mean, I don't know who I prefer, but it should be fun. I hope the Bears game stays close. I'd like to see a lot of late action, and then hopefully whoever sneaks in makes it plays well. I want to see a good playoff. So either one of those would be fun, I think.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's cap it off with the Sunday night game of the week.
Yep, last game. Winning you're in, losers out. For the possibly could catch. It's either the 6th seed or I don't know what happens with the tiebreak if the Texans lose. But either way, it's winning you're in, losers done. So big Sunday night game, division here in the AFC. We got the Colts at the Titans. Solid game.
And the Colts could even steal the division here.
So again, I didn't know what was going on with Mariota. What did you guess? Assuming he's playing, I figure he's going to play, so I'll guess that because it's obviously a very big game. So I'm assuming he's in. But what did you have?
So I was torn. I couldn't really settle if the Titans were 2.5 or 3-point underdogs. I think I ultimately settled for 2.5.
All right. If Mariota's playing, I had it pick him. I think it's kind of a toss up in Tennessee. If he's out, I think it's Colts by over 3.5, over a field goal. I think it's at least 3 points with Mariota. That seems reasonable. I'd say 3.5. So, I'll say then, assuming he's going to play, I'll say pick him. So you had 2.5? You had Titans plus 2.5?
Yeah.
It's Titans plus 3, so that's reasonable. Do you think that, we've been talking about how much we like the Colts, but you also like the Titans a lot.
They have a really good defense.
They do. What's your thoughts on this game?
And they run the ball, that's their ground and pound. It doesn't matter that much if Mariota or Gabbert plays because he's not.
I think that matters.
It matters, but it's not to the point where it's a huge, going to be the game or not because they're going to try to control the clock and ground and pound it.
How many points would you consider Mariota over Gabbert?
Probably 2.5 or 3.
It's right around where I was, but are you? So if Gabbert plays, do you think this is 6.5 or 6?
No, I think it's probably. I think my guess of 3. Well, if it's 3, I think 3.5 for Gabbert. Yeah, I guess like 5.5.
My point is, yeah, like my point is, do you think it's 3 no matter who plays? Is that kind of what you're
Yeah,
thinking?
around there. I think it's 3.5, no matter who plays. Maybe
If
it's 4 if Gabbard plays, and it's like 3 if Mariota plays, or 2.5 really.
Okay. I mean, I guess pick them, but if it was pick them, I'd probably take the Colts. So I guess I was a little low there. But I
But
think the Titans don't get enough respect. But I love the Colts, and I really want them to win this. I hope maybe the
I
public
love
would
the
think that
Colts. I
too.
love luck, and I hate going against luck. But when when it all comes down to it, I think the Titans can win this at home, like a 3-point home dog. Their defense shows up and they control the clock and force luck to make some tough throws, pick him off, once or twice. But I want the Colts to win.
Me
So
too. And I feel like the public's gonna just be like, "Oh, the Colts, we like them. I really hope they're better. Like, let's
if
take."
it was, that's why I was confused between two and I was going between 2.5 and 3 because if it was 2.5, I think that would just take a shitload of Colts money. But if it was 3.5, then it would probably take a lot of the sharps taking 3.5 at home with a good defense.
If it was 3.5, I think I'd have to take the Titans if Mariota's playing. If not, I don't really know what's gonna happen. But I've seen a lot of the talk's been. I've heard a lot on TV and all this. Colts, Luck's 10-0 against the Titans. That's shocking. Like
Whenever they start talking up stats like that, that always feels like that's a
that,
driver of public money,
that
and
is shocking
usually
to
the
me.
other
Like that
side
means,
will come in.
and I feel like everyone wants. Like I really want the Colts to win this game. I want to see them in the playoffs really badly. So to me, I'm trying not to just like blindly go with the Colts. It seems like too high. I said pick them, so I do think the Titans at home here getting 3 is pretty nice. But I don't. I want the Titans to. I want the Colts to win. So I'm kind of torn.
Yeah,
I think,
they're not a flashy or sexy team where you'll feel
but
confident betting the
they
Titans.
yeah.
But also, the breakdown I see is only 47%, 53% being on the Colts. And you also have the Titans who have revenge. They got absolutely destroyed 38-10 also a few weeks ago when the Colts were a 1-point favorite at home.
So there's that. The Colts crushed the shit out of them. I remember we liked the Colts in that game, by the way. Good call by us there.
Yeah, and then you saw what happened when the Colts go on the road against a good defense like the Jags. They just they got shut out.
But
Yeah,
and Luck has not lost to them. I can't 10-0, dude. I don't know. The problem is I'm torn because I really want, like I said, I really want the Colts to win, but I think 3 is too many. I think it's a close game, especially in Tennessee. The Colts haven't played as great on the road, so
one gripe with that stat is that he's played them once when they've had a competent coach in what's his name, the Vrabel. The last 3 years or so, when he's beaten them every time, it's been like against malarkey and like mediocre coaches and mediocre Titans teams.
Weren't the Titans still decent with the ground and pound? Even though they have an ancient offense, they still were decent. They were still solid. I agree though. Their coach is definitely better this year. Vrabel's been good. But they did kick the shit out of them with him. So they are good enough. I think they are a little bit more talented overall. And like we said, I think they have an underrated defense. They're finally really good line, really good quarterback, really good coach, and Mac's even been solid this year too. So just a lot going for the Colts this year. And I think, like we said, I hope they pull out a close game because I think the Titans with getting 3 points is probably a smarter pick. But
this game also feels like it'll come down to missed extra points or field goals. I can easily see the Colts winning by 2.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Because I think it's hard to not take the home dog here. With the Titans have been good this year, especially. And I'm gonna say that's with Mariota playing. With Gabbard playing, I would not want to take them. I don't know what the line's gonna be though, and I don't know how bad Mariota's hurt. So that's something to at least look into before the game. See what Mariota's looking like. How healthy he is.
Pretty serviceable though. I mean, he was okay last game, right? I'm pulling it up right now.
I mean, he didn't make any terrible mistakes, but
He went 7 for 11 for 100 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty good.
Okay, that's
against a pretty good Redskins D.
I don't know. I'm not going to look at a quarter of a game when they weren't prepping for that they didn't expect him to play. I wouldn't look too much into that. I don't think he's that good. Obviously, he's been a big bust. But
I think they were losing too, so he came and willed them to victory. You can say.
I don't know. I mean, I think you're kind of okay. I don't really put too much stock into that, but yeah, I think it would be. I think it would if Mariota's out. I wonder what the line moves to, but I wouldn't take the Titans with Gabbert playing. I don't think.
Yeah.
I also want to see if Mariota's like clearly hobbled. I don't think I'd want to take them either. So it's kind of I got to wait and see a little bit more on this. But to me, it seems a little getting the field goal with the home team here seems good if they can get the important pieces out there. But I do think the Colts. I hope the Colts win, and I do think that they are a little bit better overall.
The Colts on the road, they had a good win at Houston, but then otherwise they lost to Jacksonville.
I know.
They beat Oakland. They lost at the Jets, lost at New England, lost at the Eagles, and beat the Redskins in Washington. So they've been pretty mostly missed on the road, hit or miss.
Yeah, no, they have not been as good on the road, and I that's why I'm kind of against a good defense. I think it stays close. That's why I was saying the 3 is good, but it does matter to me a lot. This stuff that is important, so keep an eye on obviously what's going on.
Right now is 3 or 3.5.
It's 3.
I mean, it could get up to 3.5 possibly if they keep taking.
Well, if Gabbert's out, I think it definitely goes over.
Mariota's out.
Sorry, yes, if Gabbert plays. Yeah, so I think obviously big game should be fun.
That's big overreaction. If there's a big overreaction and it moves to 5.5 or 6, I'd be all over the Titans with Gabbert. Getting 6 because I don't think it's that big of a downgrade.
I thought you liked Mariota. I think that's a decent downgrade. But I think you're right in that the Titans are still a grinded out kind of team. But I think it's going to hurt, obviously. Actually, I don't even think Mariota's been overly great this year. I just think I don't think Gabbert's very good, obviously. But I guess if we move to 6.5, 6.5 with Mariota out, I guess you're right. Maybe it's so if it moves up and I still think the Titans can keep this a game at home. But the Colts I hope the Colts win. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Me too. I'd love to see Luck in the playoffs.
I would too, and with an improved line and an improved coach, or a good coach, that would be fun. I think so. I think they could do some damage, but those are definitely some fun games to keep an eye on this week.
So let's wrap up. What's your favorite play of this small slate?
Of those 4, I mean, I think my 4 picks on them were, I think, slightly in on the Browns, slightly in on Chicago, but it's hard to know what's going to happen. Slightly in on Washington, and Tennessee. Those are the 4 I like. Out of them, I guess I like all 4 dogs. Shocking.
I like the Browns and the Skins probably.
Do we agree on all 4 of these? I guess. Do you like all the dogs?
One pick. Who would your top pick of those 4 dogs be? I don't know if I'd be between the Browns or the Titans. I'd probably think the Browns. I
think maybe Chicago. I like all of them. I honestly I think I like all of them decently. I don't love any of them because it's hard with week 17. Like I said, you don't know what's going to happen. If Chicago if they play for this and they have something to they go out and they try all 4 quarters, I think they're a good pick at 4.5 there. But again, you don't know that. I think Cleveland and Baker definitely try to play spoiler.
Who do you think loses if people are teasing the Ravens and the Eagles? The Ravens, they'll tease to plus 1.5, plus 2. Or the Eagles to a pick 'em? Which of those has a better chance of losing? Maybe the Ravens.
Maybe the Eagles on the road. I mean, they could. It's not an easy game to win on the road there. But I think both could lose. I think it's possible. I think Cleveland's good enough to win that, and I think
the Browns should both get up for these games.
I agree, and I a lot of the time the team that needs to win doesn't. I'd say that's I'd seen that a lot.
All the time.
Yeah. So it should be good. Should be a fun game. A couple games at least. I don't know if every game's good, but there are definitely some to keep an eye on this week. So enjoy the last week. Hopefully we see some good couple of these teams in the playoffs. Hopefully the Colts get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a good week.
Yep.
Actually, an entertaining week 17 for once. Usually not this action packed.
Some games at least.
But all right, so cool. Hit us up, Twitter at Gorbachev Kman. We'll be there. Find the podcast on there, and we'll be back next week with the playoffs.
Yep.
Do our line guesses and analysis as per usual. Till then, have a happy New Year. Make some money, bitches.